Hi everyone, and welcome to our masterclass for the must-try Polish tort from our first ever Thermomix Everyday Magazine. We're so excited to be here with you. We can't wait to share the tips and tricks that we have from styling the front cover of the magazine and of course from all of the recipes that you see coming out from our Thermomix recipe development kitchen on the regular. So first up, I'm Cami. I'm the manager for recipe development and publications here at Thermomix.
And I'm Deborah, and I'm part of the recipe development team. And we worked on bringing you all these amazing winning recipes that have made up our magazine.
Yeah, so we're super excited to get sharing with you. But first up, just let us know if you're watching here today. Are you a customer? Are you a consultant? We'd love to know who we're talking to and where you're coming from in Australia and New Zealand today as well. And then also let us know, please, do you have the magazine? Are you looking at it right now? And lastly, are you planning to take this tort to some occasion over the summer season? Because if you're not, I'd highly recommend you get a date in that diary, because this is such a simple, winning, entertaining recipe that you will be amazed at how easy it is to make.
Yeah, just a thing of beauty, completely made from scratch. The jam, the mascarpone cheese, everything. So you can really claim this one as you made it completely. And don't be daunted by it. It's really easy. It's a real thing of beauty. But today we're going to show you, like Cami says, all those tricks so you don't have to be daunted by it and, not deflated if your sponge goes flat.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. So we'll get into it. We're also going to share with you today. So it's not just a masterclass to go through the paces of actually how to make the recipe, because of course, as I'm sure many of you will know, Thermomix really takes charge of most of the cooking for you. So that part is super duper easy. What we're also going to share with you are some behind the scenes tips and tricks on how to enter and how to potentially win our Cook the Cover competition. So who knows about the Cook the Cover competition? If you do, let us know, put a thumbs up, put a yes into the comments box. But if you don't worry, you are still in good time. So we have a Cook the Cover competition. Obviously, this is the recipe that you're here today to see, and this is the recipe that you need to cook to enter into the Cook the Cover competition. All of the details of the comp are inside the magazine on pages 58 and 59. You can just scan the QR codes here and they'll give you all of the details and all of the terms and conditions. But in a nutshell, super easy. You need to make the recipe, which is what we're going to show you how to do today. Then you need to style it in a great setting. And again, we're going to show you those professional tips and tricks that might just be the difference that makes your image the winner. And then you need to post it to your socials, use the hashtag #ThermomixCookTheCover and tag us. It's that simple. With that, before the 23rd of November, you'll go into the running. We're part of the panel alongside some others from the recipe and content teams here at Thermomix HQ. And you could be the lucky winner for Australia or New Zealand that gets to bag a $500 gift card for the Mix Shop just in time for all those goodies on your Christmas list. So who's up for winning $500 before Christmas?
I would like that. I know exactly what I would get.
Me too. I already have my list. Sadly, we cannot enter, but you can. So let's get cooking. Should we get started with the jam?
Yes, let's get started. So we're going to start with our jam today. So to make your own jam is just such a pleasing feeling, isn't it? And we got all these beautiful fresh berries that are in season. And this jam is going to take 14 minutes.
I know, it's crazy. When you think about a jam, you think hours and hours. Yeah. But in Thermomix, 14 minutes, seasonal berries.
Yeah, easy. So you can start this tort and eat it on the same day. Easy. So we're just going to crush those berries just for 1 second. Oops, sorry, wrong speed. Fabulous. And just to get all those juices flowing and get the nice texture for the inside of our cake. And to that, we're going to add our jam sugar into that. And then our lemon juice and some water and some oil. So I've just added it all together and into that. And I hope you didn't blink or miss that, because that is it. And so we're going to put it on for 14 minutes. I'm just going to put it back at the back with the aroma on top so all the steam can escape, and it will be ready in no time at all.
Yeah,
so
incredible.
I'm just going to put that at the back.
So that was also one of the great things that we love about this recipe when we're actually deciding on the recipe to go on the cover. We wanted to make sure it was something really seasonal. And I don't know about where you are at the moment, but here in WA, blueberries and strawberries are already so abundant, so economical, and it's just going to get more and more so as the summer season kicks in. We all know berries all about summer, and this year we're going to have a bumper berry season. So as you might have noticed, and you would already know if you have your Thermomix Everyday Magazine, the recipe is exclusively in the magazine. So we're using manual cooking to make this recipe. So this is an awesome skill. Obviously TM6, we're so used to, and we love that guided cooking, step-by-step recipes on screen. But flexing your manual cooking muscles with your Thermomix is also an absolutely awesome thing to do, because it widens your Thermomix use and means that you can make pretty much anything and everything you could possibly want to make in Thermomix, regardless of whether or not you already have the recipe on Cookie Do. So in this TM6 right here, we're going to make the sponge. Super simple ingredients, super simple methods. So I'll get into that.
Yes, so I've inserted your butterfly
Thank you
in
very
the
much.
bowl for you, our amazing butterfly. That's so clever. We've got our 8 eggs.
We're going to put our 8 eggs in. That's in there. Will I just pass those?
Yeah.
Yes, thank you.
And our sugar, 240 grams of sugar is going in there. It's going to give us that beautiful light tender crumb. Sugar is important.
Yes.
It's a special occasion. And 2 teaspoons of our vanilla essence.
Thank you.
Going in there.
There we are. So we're going to do half a tablespoon.
Yes. Pop that in there.
Easy.
Easy. And we're going to set and forget. So 6 minutes might seem long, but you can walk away and do something else, which we'll also be doing in the meantime. So we're going to set that for 6 minutes, Cami,
yes,
on 37 degrees. Speed 4.
6 minutes, 37, speed 4. So there's some really interesting things there, Deb, which I think would be great to talk through. So we've obviously got a little bit of temp on there. We've got 37, and it's whipping for 6 minutes, and we're actually going to do that twice.
Yes.
So why is that? What benefit is that going to bring to our batter?
So we're just whipping it, and we're just working it into this beautiful aerated mousse that looks good enough to eat when it comes out the bowl even. And also the little bit of the temperature just dissolves the sugar, helps the sugar dissolve. And it's just coagulating all of those proteins, forming those strong bonds to give us a really high sponge. Because the beauty of this cake as well, Cami, is how many tins do we use?
I know, that is just the winner. How many tins do you reckon we use? Put a comment in the comment box. How many tins to make this beautiful, high 4-layer cake? How many tins? I know that, again, when I made this for my family, my mum and dad came over. It was a special treat for them. And my mum actually said to me, Cam, how many cakes? And I have to say, it was really satisfying when I just got to say one. Absolutely awesome.
Yeah, one awesome sponge. So you don't need lots of tins. You know, you don't have to have any fancy equipment. We've just got our beautiful rose gold tin. And I've buttered it and floured it. So this is a really important step. Don't miss it out and do it really well. You don't want your cake to stick after all the efforts and ingredients you put into it. And yeah, so I've done that. Dust off all your excess flour, because you don't want to get those sort of, you know, sometimes if you don't dust the flour, if you get sort of a white film on your cake. But if you do, it also doesn't matter. We're going to cover it up, but just dust off the excess.
And do you have a trick to get the excess off, Deb?
I just bang it, really.
So do I. Yeah, so there you go. It's not a fancy trick.
Bang it.
Just bang it, get your hand on the side of the tin.
Yeah.
Anything that's loose will come out, and anything that's nice and stuck, that's what you want.
Yeah, just bang it out. So, and I also have a theory about our beautiful rose gold tins. And I don't know if you can see on camera, it actually looks pretty battered, and I considered getting us a nice, you know, new one for the purpose of today. But we really use these tins. We like hammer them in the RD kitchen. So And I have a theory that the rose gold, it's not like a dark tin, like a black tin that absorbs heat in your oven. So I feel it gives us a really moist sponge. It's not so dry, and they don't always go so dark. But, you know, that's my theory, and I'm sticking it, but we love the rose gold tin.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Okay. So we can move it to the side, and we'll add our other ingredients when the time is right. But as always, we have one that we prepared.
We do. And just while we're getting that, we thought it would be nice to share a little bit of the background around this recipe as well. Because as you can imagine, there was a lot of discussion around what do we put on the front cover of our first ever Thermomix Everyday Magazine that we would really, really want to become the recipe for all of our Thermomix community in the spring-summer season. And Grace Mazur, the founder and managing director of Thermomix in Australia, was always 100% sure that it would be and it should be this Polish tort. And part of that reason is because it's such an integral and well-loved recipe across Europe, including in Poland, where she's from. And it's light and bright and Moorish, and that type of dessert, you just want to always go back for more. But also because it's got a great story behind it. So when Grace started Thermomix in Australia in 2001, she did so having come back from a time in Poland where she saw Thermomix in action and fell in love with it, and just saw the value of it and the value it would bring to Australia and later also New Zealand families. And the general manager of Thermomix in Poland is a guy called Wojtek, and this is actually his recipe. And he was an incredible, and still is, friend, support, mentor to Grace. And he produced this recipe to go into the 25th anniversary book in Poland, for Thermomix in Poland. And so what better recipe to tie our Thermomix story to everything that we are in our incredible community in Australia than to share this Polish tort, which has just absolutely taken over. Everyone in the office when we were testing was just bowling over for it. When we shot it in the Media studios in Sydney, all of the editors and journalists are wanting the recipe. And then of course our wonderful Thermomix consultants who have the opportunity to receive recipes and all of these extra things before everybody else. They've all had the opportunity to have the magazine for an extra 3 weeks before it went on sale, have all been cooking this, have all been posting and sharing their incredible takes on the tour, and just how much everyone's loving it. So
it's been amazing to see.
It really has. It really has. So if we had to guess, but we'd love to know, so pop it in the comments box, if there is anything that you're unsure about with making this tort, what is it? We'd love to know. We'd love to help you with those questions now. And we're also going to take a little bit of a guess at what it might be. What do we think that is, Debs?
Oh, I don't know. Like, how do you cut it?
Yeah.
How do you get those beautiful layers? You know, how do you slice a cake that it doesn't have big holes or it's lopsided?
Exactly. I know from talking with our community, also in our social media channels, that is the question. How do I cut it? How do I make sure that I get the even layers? So that's what we're going to show you how to do.
Yes.
I'm just going to,
You can even just lift the lid a little bit quickly, Cami. I just want to show, like you can see where that is at the moment on the camera. And then you can see with the full, just tilt it a little bit. Yeah, it's just, you can see it's still quite liquidy and it doesn't quite cover the butterfly. So we're going to look at that again after the next 6 minutes. Cami, speed 4 again.
Yes.
How quick did that go?
I know.
We're going to need to get our skates on if we're going to cut your tort for you.
No temperature on this time, Deb?
No temperature, no. So yes, I mean, it's nice to be able to cut your cake into nice even layers. It's not the end of the world if you don't. But it is nice to, when you're putting so much effort into something that's this beautiful, you want to get it as good as possible. So we're going to show you a trick for that. So Cami, we're going to measure our cake.
We are. First up, we have actually flipped the cake, haven't we?
We have. This is the bottom of the cake, and this we're going to use as our top because it's nice and even and smooth,
Yeah.
and it's a pretty
So we'll show you the ugly side because this is a masterclass and we show warts and all.
Yeah,
so this is the top. This is what yours will also look like. If it looks like this, that's perfect. That's what you're going for. That's the ugly side, and we're putting that on the bottom, and that will become the bottom of our cake. Yeah. And we leave the lovely smooth surface, which has been attached to the bottom of our tin. So got that beautiful smooth surface that becomes our top.
Okay, so Cami, you got the eyes. You're gonna measure that, and what is hot? What's the cake measure?
So we are on just under 6 centimeters. We're going to call it 6 centimeters, Deb.
Okay, so we want to put in 3 centimeters.
Yeah.
And Cami's just going to go around the cake and turn the turntable, which is amazing.
Do it on this side maybe so you can see. Yes, so we've got the 6 centimeters. Can you see? Yeah, got the 6 centimeters. We just go in with the 3 centimeters or just above. Now, just remember at home, you don't have to use a ruler if you don't want to. You can also just gauge it by eye. We're showing you the absolute precision approach that we use for food styling, but you shape it to you. It's a really super easy recipe. And as you can tell, there's enough height on the cake that if you don't get that exact 2 centimeters, it doesn't matter.
No, it really doesn't matter.
Yeah.
So Cami's just going to go around and put the toothpicks. You can put as many or as little as you feel comfortable with. We've also, so what we also did with that cake, so don't try and do this when the cake is warm. The recipe will tell you to cool it. And I've actually even put this one in the fridge a little bit, so it just firms it up a little bit, and we don't get so many crumbs when we cut our cake. Also choose your most favorite serrated knife that's not too aggressive, so you're not going to mess up the edges of your cake as well. And also a long bladed knife is really good because we're going to be cutting across the whole cake. So you want to choose a good knife for that as well. So
just correcting myself there.
So I actually saw a hack as well, is that somebody took some dental floss and they put it on top of their toothpicks and cut that one, but I haven't tested that, but it piqued my interest. So you could even get that a hack and let us know how you thought about that.
Okay.
Well, you're not stitching me up, Cami. You got it.
I'm trying my best, Debs.
Okay.
There we are. Okay, and we will just say beforehand, I'm not sure if any of you are actually following along at home. If you are, please let us know. And we will try and wait until you're ready for the next step. We're going to start slicing now. If it were to happen that you cut a wonky slice or a hole or anything like that.
You're saying this before I start because it's quite possible.
Don't worry about it. You don't have to start again. This is one of the beauties of this recipe and this incredibly forgiving, spongy, light sponge. You can fill in any gaps with the mascarpone cream filling. You can fill in any height differences with a strategically placed piece of fruit. So we'll show you all of those hacks. So just be confident, be calm. You can totally take 4 great layers out of your sponge. So just go ahead and go for it.
Okay, so what I'm doing is I've got my hand on the top of the cake, and a grated turntable is just wonderful for this because it elevates the cake, and also you can turn it as you go. And I've just gone on top of the toothpicks and I've just made a little cut to get the halfway up. And then you just want to do a gentle sawing motion.
The knife is really important here too, isn't it, Deb? You want to get a nice serrated knife, but just with a mild serrated knife, not one of those sort of really, really serrated ones for like crusty bread or something like that, because that will actually put like a sort of seesaw pattern on your torte, which you probably don't want. So have like just a nice, mildly serrated knife, gently push from the outside towards the center, go around a few times. And once you're feeling confident, you can just lift off that top layer.
Oh, and can you believe it, Cami? That's our jam.
That's our jam. It's wonderful. It's done.
Okay. So it's the moment of truth. And we'll just lift off our, I think that's pretty
Yes, it's
good.
wonderful.
And so now you can take your toothpicks out. And so I'm just going to leave this one on here, Cami, because you're gonna cut the other.
Should we show the jam first?
Yes.
Okay.
Show the jam.
Is everyone ready, team, to keep going? We haven't had anyone ask to pause. Can you see?
I'll pour it into a bowl too.
Jam, yes.
So can you see? It already has a beautiful consistency and color, and it's going to obviously set when it's cool. So just look at that color and all this beautiful, and it's the perfect amount for our tort too. So
and if you do feel tempted to taste the jam, which you'd be totally forgiven to do so.
Looks so good.
It tastes super sweet on its own. Don't feel that you should have reduced the sugar or anything like that. It's perfectly balanced because the cream and the mascarpone mix are quite not sweet, and then we've got the lemon water which gets drizzled onto the sponge, and then the sponge itself, and then the tartness of the fresh fruit. So once it all blends in together, it's just the perfect balance on that.
Okay, so we can finish our sponge, Cami. Oh, do you see what I mean?
Yes.
Like it's all beautiful and
can you
moussey.
see that? No. Like that?
Yeah. Beautiful.
Yeah.
Okay, and to that, Cami, we're going to add our flour, which is also 240 grams. So it's really easy to remember. It's the same as our sugar.
Yes.
So, and I've got my 2 pinches of salt in there as well.
We've already put them in.
Yeah, it's all good to
so
go.
It just goes in.
Yeah, just around the butterfly like that. And here we have a teaspoon of baking powder, just to give us even more lift. One teaspoon. Yeah. Yeah.
Is that a teaspoon?
Yeah.
Okay. It looked like heaps.
Okay, and we're just going to go 5 seconds, speed 3 with that. So the other thing about the Thermomix that I love with the baking is just it's so specific. And when you're making a sponge, number one, don't overmix once you've added your flour. This is really just perfect. So just 5 seconds, and then we can pour it into our tin. If it's got any excess flour left around the bowl or the butterfly, you can just stir it in with your spatula.
Oh, look at that.
It was moussey.
Look at that. I mean, it's just wonderful. Can you see?
Over the butterfly, almost a full bowl. So just beautiful.
Would you like to transfer that while
I put that into the tin?
Yes.
And Cami's going to.
So we're going
to Cami's eyes are better than mine.
We're going to continue on with the layering of the cake. So we've cut it in half. That's a beautiful clean cut. The tort is really forgiving and it's really strong. It's a beautiful, as I said before, spongy sponge. So don't be afraid of lifting it up and moving it around. It can totally take it. You can wear food prep gloves if you want to. We've just got extremely clean hands that we just washed prior to starting this masterclass. And you just continue the process. On your bench at home, it'll be a lot more comfortable than it is here because we sort of have to get down into a squat position to do it. But you can use your ruler. I tend to go by eye. But you can use your ruler. You want to be going, halfway through. And so you're going to have 4 even layers. Can you see that? Yes, awesome. And you just use your turntable. If you've got one, you can get one. You can get these from the mix shop. Really, really convenient things to have for any sort of baking, cake baking. If you don't have one and you're going to order one in the cyber sale, you don't have one yet, you can also, do this with the plate and just swivel the plate around.
Okay, so how beautiful does that cake look? So we put our oven on 170 degrees and we're going to bake it for about 25 minutes. So we get a lot of questions always about ovens and eggs and, so they do vary. So keep an eye on it and check it. If you know your oven runs a bit hot or if you've got a colder oven, it might vary, but it's pretty spot on for us usually. So as easy as that, it's going to go in. Sorry, Cami, I'm just behind you.
We're going to do the same as we did with the top layer. So you cut in half first, move your cake off to the side, and do your second 2 layers again. You can just rest ever so slightly as you slice. You sort of rest your knife slightly on the toothpicks and it helps to guide you. But as we said,
perfect.
Any inaccuracies, don't worry about it.
Okay,
you can fix it up when you layer the cake.
Cam is doing an excellent job of that. So we've got our lemon water here, which is just what it is, lemon and water. And that, like Cami said, is going to balance the sweetness of the jam, but it's also going to give our cake with the cream, it just sort of seals in all that nice tender crust, and it makes it really moist and delicious. So we're going to, that's that. This is a jam that we prepared earlier, so you can see what it looks like. So that's our jam. And also we made our own mascarpone cream, which I'm going to get out the fridge. So again, don't be put off by making your own. It's really, you cook it in the Thermomix for 40 minutes, and then you set it out overnight with citric acid that you've added, and then you put it in the fridge. So the time might seem long, but actually it's pretty hands-free all the time. So how amazing that you can even make your own mascarpone cheese for this. And we've just got our whipping cream. And we're going to whip that. So out of all the things that this tort that you have to do, this is actually the part that is most important, believe it or not. It's just whipping, but it's a really crucial part of the recipe. So
the reason being is that depending on the temperature of the cream, depending on the brand or
the age,
exactly, it can whip extremely quickly or less quickly. And the last thing that you want is to over whip your cream. However, if you do, we've actually thought of that. So we do it in 2 batches. So if you do happen to over whip one of your batches, you can use that batch to fill your cake, your tort, and then do your second batch, make sure that you whip it less, and that's your perfect, beautiful batch to go on the outside. So you get 2 goes at it. Just stay really close. Watch through the hole in the mixing bowl lid. And the second you think it's starting to thicken, switch it off and take a look, because you're better to underwhip than to overwhip.
Yes, and we have found it sort of strangely so, it even thickens up a little bit on standing. So I've just added some 40 grams of icing sugar to that, 300 grams of pouring cream. I'm going to add a teaspoon of vanilla essence, because we're actually doing this in 2 batches, which again, you might be tempted to put it all in one, but this is why we did it in 2 batches, because you just want to be able to control it as much as possible. And so we're just weighing in half of our mascarpone now, which is 250 grams of that. How unctuous does that look? So just weighing that into the bowl. Oops. Done. It's all going to go into the tort one way or the other, so you don't have to be absolutely spot on with that. And we're just going to whip that up on speed 3. And I'm not moving away from it.
Yeah, I'm not used staying put.
How are you doing there, Cami?
Yes, I'm nearly there. I'm nearly there. Yes.
Okay, fabulous. And so I'm just going to give you a plate, Cami, and then you can put our turntable, put it on our turntable so we can keep moving it along.
Yes, I might just clean up a little bit while you do the cream, and then I shall bring it back.
Okay. So I just have a picture in Sydney in my head when we were at our media, when we took all our recipes there and we got to see them come to life, and they had all these beautiful, there's whole rooms full of props. But the people it took to get this tort onto the cover, like every berry considered. So This brings back memories of that.
So are we placing this plate onto the turntable?
Yes.
Yes. Okay.
We're cheating because we want a different plate to our turntable. I'm not talking, I'm concentrating. But a splashing. I hope everybody's managed to stay with us if you've cooking along.
So what we've got here, and it's totally up to you how you decide to style your torte for your cook the cover entry. You might decide to present it as a slice. You might decide to present it as a whole cake. You might decide to put it on a board, on a plate, on a cake stand, whatever you like. You're totally free to style it however you choose. Don't feel you have to replicate the cover of the magazine. This is your take. So we thought just for that reason, we're going to actually make it look quite different to how we styled it for the cover. So we've chosen this beautiful sort of duck shell blue, sort of quite modern / boho kind of plate, I guess. We're going to pop it onto the cake stand because that's also another thing you can do, you know, to have different looks for your one cake stand. And we're going to pop it on there and just have this sort of non-slip cloth underneath just to make sure that our plate doesn't go sliding around everywhere. So now we're already starting to think about how we're going to style the torte so that we can take our lovely image at the end. So I'll just put the bottom layer on there and then we'll talk through the lemon water.
So I'll show you my cream. I have, you see, I'm actually stopping the machine every few seconds just to see what it looks like when it's when the machine stops whipping. So that's our first batch.
Perfect.
Yeah, perfect. So I'm going to put this in a bowl and then do the second batch. So Cami, do you want to get started on spreading our jam and putting our lemon?
I can absolutely do that, yes. And I just want to make sure everyone has seen the consistency of the cream mascarpone mix because it's really important. You don't want it to be too thin. That is just beautiful and and glossy and amazing. Okay, so then you refer to your recipe in your magazine to the part where it tells you how to assemble the torte. And what we do is we always add the lemon water, which is literally just lemon juice and water, and we just drizzle it over the torte onto the sponge.
You can use a spoon too, Cami. If you
yes, thank you. That would be wonderful.
So you can do whatever.
It doesn't make for a wet mouthfeel. It just gives it that extra moistness and brings a little bit more sharpness as well to the palate, which with the blueberry jam just works really, really well.
I'd be inclined to put a little bit of alcohol in there, maybe.
Yes, exactly. You do you, Deb.
It is a celebration.
Yeah, that's right. I've got 2 kids, and this part of the torte making is really fun. We do like a conveyor belt. Had my 6-year-old in charge of the lemon water and my 9-year-old in charge of the jam. Super duper fun. And again, it's a really forgiving torte and a really forgiving dessert. So don't feel you need to get it perfect in any way. And then we put a third of the jam in between each of the layers. Which one am I using, Deb?
I'll use this one because that one might still be a little bit warm.
So here's the jam we made earlier. It is a good idea to make your jam a little bit earlier. So it has time to thicken. You can even make it the day before or even a couple of days before. So it's got that beautiful jam consistency. It'll also just make it easier to slice. So you want to take a third. You can do this in however which way works for you. If you're a precision sort of person, you can measure out your jam. If you're more of a, just like to wing it sort of person, you can also do that. It's going to be delicious either way. I like to do it and sort of distribute it around the edges and then sort of move it in.
What on? Delicious.
So already at this stage, although it might change, but when you're thinking about your cook the cover entry, already at this stage, you can be starting to consider which is your hero side. This is something that as professional food stylists, we do all the time. You would be maybe not so surprised, but you could be surprised to know that like the non-photograph side of something oftentimes is totally bare and we haven't worried about it at all. So just like many of us have our best size for photographs, so does your recipe. So start to consider if you've got any imperfections. That's again where the turntable is really helpful. And just have a look around. This actually is an absolute incredible example of a sponge. There is literally no imperfection on this layer. So far, we have contenders on all sides for the hero side.
Oh, good.
And then on top of the jam, we put our mascarpone cream mixture. Are we happy for me to use this one?
Yeah, you can use some of that. And I'll just stir this other one in when it's ready.
So again,
it's at about 8 tablespoons, Cami, so you can be a bit generous.
I shall make my 8 tablespoon estimate. Again, you do you. If you've got a way that you like to fill cakes, don't feel you need to change it for this one. I generally like to go, as I do with the jam, I generally like to go around the sides and then move it around.
Well, we made it through the cream beating stage, so we can, yeah. Okay, so
how's that second batch of cream looking?
It's perfect. All good.
How are we going at home? Any questions?
What alcohol would you use?
Oh, wow. You go first, Deb.
I love a Contro or a something orangey or a limoncello, maybe.
Limoncello is my go-to.
Yeah, or even something almond, an amaretto, or something nutty. Something you want to stay away from. I would stay away from dark spirits. So I wouldn't go like Kahlua or something. It's like a dark little color.
I got my spatula.
Sorry.
You're all right.
And can they use frozen berries instead of fresh?
In the jam?
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
For the cake decoration?
No,
Wouldn't
I
recommend
wouldn't,
it.
no. They might weep, they might run, and I think the texture will be a little bit soft. So if you couldn't, I wouldn't. But we were also saying, like, you don't have to use blueberries, or you could just use strawberries, You'll see later we're going to use some chocolate quills maybe, or some edible flowers. So you don't have to use berries if they're not in season.
I forgot the fruit while we're talking about the fruit. Luckily, it's a forgiving dessert.
Okay, so yeah, we've got raspberries and strawberries and blueberries, and we've just sliced them up to go in the center of the cake. So obviously, cut them according if they're very big, or you can slice them. And as Cammie's doing, you want to see them. You'll see the cover has the little bits of fruit peeking through the sponge on the side. So you want to just put them close to the edge as well, so you can see them when we're going to get that naked look.
Yes.
So,
and again, there's no rules, are there, Deb? So I sort of am being quite formulaic here, but honestly, yeah, we don't often do that. I think it's just the flavor I felt just now. You can put your fruit however you like. As Deb said, you can choose which fruit, how much fruit, how you cut your fruit, all these things. The only tips we would give is that you don't want the fruit to be too high or too uneven, and because that will make it hard to have a tort that sort of sits easily and slices easily. So do try and keep it, the fruit slices to be nice and thin. And then when you're selecting your fruits, you do want to think about your heroes
Yes.
too, don't you, Debs?
Don't eat your nice ones, and don't put your your nice ones in the middle. You keep like all of the softer ones for the center of the cake, and then keep your pretty ones, your heroes, for the top. But sorry, Cami, I was like with gay abandon. I was going.
Yes,
into
go.
your
I
fruit.
I think some gay abandon is probably quite good.
Yes. So you can see Cami's nice and meticulous, and I'm like, yeah, let's just, go for it, go big.
Yeah, we're probably about right there, aren't we?
I think a question before, ladies, about the baking paper for the sponge rather than flour. Can you use baking paper?
You
instead of
can,
flour?
if you, and that's a good point as well, because we actually have a gluten-free version of this cake that will be coming. And yes, absolutely, you can use baking paper with just butter if you like. Absolutely.
Okay,
Perfect,
so we're
Cami.
putting our second layer on now, this time with fruit. And we're starting to consider now again, thank you, which would be our hero. You can decide to clean as you go or clean at the end. I generally like to keep a clean ship. But you start to see, where it might be sitting a little bit lower and things like that. You start to consider your heroes. We won't fill in any gaps just yet. We'll just keep going and then fill in gaps
for the icing. Yeah.
So will I just keep going?
Yeah.
Okay.
You keep going.
Another question was the vegetable oil, is it necessary in the jam?
No, it's not entirely necessary. That comes from, like, if you were wanting to scale your recipe up, or if you were wanting to make jam that kept for a longer time. It's it's supposed to help a bit with the preserving of jam, also with the boiling. But if this is a small amount, so you could leave it out.
You can also use olive oil if you prefer not to use a vegetable oil. Sorry, looking the wrong way. Use olive oil.
And the other question was chocolate. Could you change the flavour of this cake, this torte, to be chocolate?
As in a chocolate sponge?
Yes.
Oh, you could take out a couple of tablespoons of your flour, and you could substitute that with cocoa. You could change the flavor. Pavo, you're going rogue. They're going rogue.
Yeah, I mean, I'm excited to see the chocolate torte.
No, you could do that if you like chocolate. Absolutely. Okay, so while Cami's busy doing that, I'm going to start getting our styling stuff together so that we can, and so I can quickly show them the naked look.
Yes.
How to get that, and then we're styling it. So,
we're getting comments about the cake in the oven and how gorgeous that looks.
Oh yes, it rises, and the beauty of this cake, it just seems to rise. It rises so evenly. Like you would see in the recipe that we didn't say you had to trim it or anything, because it actually is, it just rises so beautifully. And when you turn it onto your wire rack, it all evens out. It's an absolute dream. I mean, you couldn't get it flatter or more even if you tried. So, okay, so this is a stand we use upstairs when we're styling. So you will use whatever backdrop you have. You might have a nice kitchen tile backdrop or something like that, or a place in your house that has a backdrop. You don't have to, depends on your angle. If you're going overhead or you're looking straight into the cake, you might, high, you might not need it. But we thought we would just show you what we do.
Yes,
when we
and some tips for when you're doing this at home. So first thing is to select your surface. So if you've got like a stone bench top, which has quite a sheen to it like this, that's not a great surface because it's going to reflect the light and make the image feel quite stark. So you want to be looking for warm surfaces. Timber is great. If you've got a timber table, inside or outside. If you don't, you can even, and you've got timber floors, you can even put it on the floor. Believe it or not, heaps of the food images that you see have probably been shot on a floor or on like a board of floorboards put on a table. So it definitely doesn't have to be a table. So think about warm surfaces, and then think about where you are in the room or if you're outside. So you don't want light coming from above because that will give you shadows on your on your image. And also you don't want light coming from behind either, because that would obviously blow out your image. So if you can just take it at a time of day where you have natural light, looking with the windows behind you ideally and the tort in front of you, then that's a great choice. And then think about your plates and your textures, which Des will talk more to as well.
It's looking good, Cami.
Thank you, my friend. How are we going at home? Is anyone actually cooking or assembling along?
I believe there are a few people that are doing that.
So exciting.
Yes, one person did mention that their cake wasn't as high as ours. Would there be a reason for that?
Actually, we baked this cake quite a few times, like Cami said, and even the other day we had 2 different brands of eggs. They were the same size. The date expiration was a little bit different, and the one cake was at least a centimeter higher than the other. So it really just comes down to your ingredients. I would say mainly your eggs, because the Thermomix is specific and the temperature and everything is spot on. So I think it would just be your eggs.
It can also be your oven.
Oh yes,
Yeah.
your oven. Yeah.
So if you've got an irregular heated oven, like it gets hotter in one part of the oven than in the other. So for example, if your cake sort of sunk a little bit at the back, that could be because your oven is way hotter at the back than it is at the front.
Yes, and put your cake on the middle rack in your oven so that the air is circulating around it.
Yeah, but again, I mean, I don't know if you've already assembled your tort, but I'd really be interested to know if you still got the 4 layers or if you went to 3 layers. But again, you can just go to 3 layers if it doesn't rise as much as you'd like it to. I've got a really old oven at home, and the last time I made this, I also got a little bit of a sink at the back, and I still managed to get the 4 layers. Yes.
What size eggs?
They're 59-gram eggs, so the 700-gram egg box, the 700 grams. The 59 and 69 fails me, but yeah, so 700 grams. It says in the front of all our books and our publications about the egg size usually. The other thing about if your cake is not high enough, also like once you've made your batter and you put it in your tin, like don't take a phone call or put it in the oven immediately as well. Don't let it hang around, because as soon as the baking powder and all that starts interacting, that process has started. Don't bang it around, be a little bit gentle with it. That helps as well.
Okay,
Perfect.
nearly there, Deb.
Looking great. So I'll clear up a bit, Cami, and then while I'm doing the naked look, you can set us up for success with our styling.
Yes. Oh, my teaspoon.
Oh, sorry.
Get
I'm too,
yeah.
I'm always getting into trouble for clearing up.
Super, yeah. Super efficient, super clean. It's good. There we are. We're speeding up a bit, but as you'll see, you don't need to spend heaps of time. It's not hard. It doesn't take any, massive level of kitchen skill or prowess, and you still manage to have this incredible, wow, dessert at the end of it.
So you can use them.
One of the questions was about the light. Somebody was going to go into that about the light. They were concerned that the light coming from behind created shadows.
Yes, the light coming from behind you. You would like the light from behind you, not from behind the tort. Does that make sense? We'll show you when we take the mock image. We are going to take a mock image, so hopefully it's clearer then. There we are.
We've had a question from our New Zealand peeps about the egg size, because their egg sizes are 5, 6, or 7.
Oh
Right.
My goodness. Oh, there you go.
Yeah, I'm not sure which one it
We'll have to get back to them on that one. I'm not 100% sure about that.
Okay, so we're going to flip our beautiful top. Just try and get it as central as you can. But again, you know, don't worry, because you can move it around. It's wonderfully forgiving. I think we've got it pretty spot on.
Yeah, brilliant.
There we go. And if you've got a pastry brush, you can just brush the crumbs off.
Yes.
Or with a kitchen towel. There you go, Debs. Over to you. Let me remove
Camille
that.
has set me up for success, I think, and it's looking good. So you do want to clear your crumbs. It is quite important because otherwise it's going to get caught up in your icing, your cream mixture. So do try, some of it will be fine, but you don't want all of it. So yeah, brilliant. Okay, I'll move over, Cami, and if you want to start choosing our props and talking about
Sure. Okay, so I'm going to come around this side. So for the purpose of today, we are going to actually be shooting towards the window, which is exactly what I told you not to do. But luckily, we have a backdrop that we'll be able to put, which will stop that light. So we won't be getting the light from behind the image. So different to how we did in the magazine, where we had the greens and the whites. We're actually going a little bit different today. We wanted to show just how, you know, versatile you can be. We've also got some different toppings ideas that we thought we might play around with. We tempered some white chocolate in the Thermomix and made some chocolate curls. And we've got this beautiful fresh mint, and we'll just use
that's from our garden.
The little leaves, that's right. These are really easy to grow, and they're a really great thing to grow, because if you want to buy micro herbs in the shops, because they're quite trendy, they can be more on the expensive side, but you can really easily grow micro herbs on your kitchen shelf or on your in your front garden or on your balcony or whatever. Obviously doesn't take much space.
Yes, so you need mint to make the other mints in our magazine.
Yes.
So can we just quickly,
yes,
for everybody's benefit, I've just put some of our cream on top, and I've just smoothed it out just to give us a nice smooth surface again. And then I'm just going to put the rest around the side and make it smooth, fill in all the gaps, and then I'll show you the naked look so you can carry on with
yes.
that.
And tell us about the spatula you're using as well, Debs, because I think that's really helpful to know.
A good palette knife. Also available from our mix shop, and it just gives you that nice long, so you can do it in one sweep, if that's the right word.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, you'll see as I come around. Don't worry either about the jam or the berries covering your coloring your cream. I think that's quite pretty. How's it looking?
Oh, it's just looking wonderful.
Wonderful. So we'll just keep going at that.
I reckon we've literally been eating this cake weekly, this tort, since probably for about the last 6 months. And it's just always so delicious, and you just sort of can't wait to have a slice.
And you can see there's that beautiful little blueberry peeking through there. So that's how we got that look on the cover. Okay, so what's napkins and plates and forks do you think we're going to go for, Cammy? So what are you thinking?
Yeah, well, when you're choosing your props, it's really up to you. You don't need to use napkins, plates. You can use flowers, you can use people's hands, you can put yourself and your family in there, you can do whatever you like. But we have chosen some options from our styling cupboard. This is reminiscent to the cover of the actual magazine. This is one of our measuring cups from the mix shop. It's got that beautiful rose gold color and a lovely bit of sheen. So we're definitely considering this. And we've got the matching items as well, the cake slice and the cake knife and the dessert forks. So we'll be placing those strategically around our tort to create our finished look. And then we've also got these lovely little plates. Another really good styling tip is even though plates and accessories might look quite large in an image, they're actually often on the smaller side. So steer away from like large size accessories and props, because they will just steal the eye away from your superstar, which is your tort.
Okay, Cammy. So this is like playing for me, so I could just keep doing this for the next 20 minutes, but I realized that we have a time constraint. So you just use like a pastry scraper, and we're just going to go. I like to put a lot of mixture on the side of the cake and take a little bit of it. You can keep going back and then scraping it off, and then you can see those beautiful naked layers coming through, and you can see those berries and that. So usually I would spend a little bit more time neatening up the bottom of our cake, but we really want to get to the styling fun part of it.
Even when we were shooting the cover, we shot various levels of cake nakedness, didn't we?
We did,
Debs.
just to see so clean off your plate, and so just keep scraping it off to get away that excess. And then you can go back and add if there's any gaps in that. But for today's purposes, we'll just, and then just to bring in that edge, whoops, make it a bit smoother. And then deciding where you're going to put your fruit. Oops. So you can see there's a little bit there.
So should we pick our best side, Debs?
So as I go around, which side do you think's best? Tell me when to stop.
Keep going. Oh, stop. Maybe. Oh, it's a hard choice. Sometimes it's a hard choice. I think we will go with this one, even though we've got a little bit of a curl there.
Cool.
I love that, just in how the cream's scraped. I love that blueberry. What do we think? Are we happy with that?
Fabulous. Okay, just a bit of tidying up there, and then all yours, Tammy. I'm just going to grab the cake out the oven, move this all
Wonderful.
away first.
And we're going to use this as our surface table, aren't we, Debs?
Yes, we can do that.
I can clean that up.
You can?
Yeah.
I'll just grab a cake out so you can see it. Ooh. To the trade with the glasses. Look at that.
Oh, look at that.
There we go.
Wonderful.
So it will drop ever so slightly. I'll show you it once it's stood for a while. There we go. So we'll just set it aside on the wire rack to cool for about 10 minutes.
Yeah.
And then you would take it out the tin. But yeah, beautiful, even, no cracks, and it will drop to a perfect smooth surface practically. So we'll just put that aside.
Wonderful. Okay, so let's start setting our scene. So you've chosen your props, you've chosen your surface, you've just given everything a bit of a wipe down. You just want it all to be, nice and clean. And then let's start to think around where we're going to be placing our tort. Make sure we get our happy hero side at the front. For the purposes of today, we're not going to pick up on like really nickely little things, but when you are styling, yours do. So we would clean around here and things like that. But we're not going to do that now. So we're going to start a great thing to do, and what we do in the photo studio and in photo shoots is we've actually got a live connection attached to the camera, and then you can see it on the laptop, so you can move things around in what we call live view. Obviously at home you don't have that, but you do have your smartphone, and it does exactly the same job. So when you're styling your cook the cover entry, do so.
That's worrying me now.
Using the screen
better.
Of your smartphone. So don't look through your eyes, look through your screen.
Oh, can I go and
yes,
can I just go big on the top? We'll I know Cami likes this part too, so I'm sorry I'm getting to do the fun part. Oh, random berry, that's fine. Sometimes they want to be where they want to be. Let's just cut that one in. Oh.
We're going to have to move it further back, Deb, or else the background isn't going to work.
Okay.
There we are. So we're starting to see that coming together. That's starting to look really nice. We're going to need to heighten the backdrop.
How's it looking?
Oh, it's looking wonderful. Have we got an overhead view there?
Certainly. And while we're doing that, there was some questions early on about lactose-free substitutes. Is it possible to do this lactose-free substitutes?
Oh, I don't know. We've not.
I'm just trying to. I did see that some of them, sorry, some of the consultants were doing versions with lactose free. I'd have to just go back and look, but I can't see why you couldn't do it with a coconut cream or something like that. You just need quite a lot of it. But certainly I think there are alternatives out there. Yeah, coconut cream would be a good one, I think.
Sorry, Debs.
Okay, so I'm going to go, and again, it depends if you're less is more or more person. Once I start, sometimes I can't stop. So you need to just decide if you want to. Cammie's changing tack.
We're going to change backgrounds because this background isn't wide enough.
Okay.
Ladies?
We thought about the thickened cream and we decided that it would just be too heavy with the mascarpone cheese. Again, if that's all you had on the day and taught you mass, then it would be fine. But it's with the mascarpone cheese, it's quite heavy, a heavy feel on the mouth. But if that's what's all you could get or what you could, then by all means, yeah. So I even found this little blueberry with a little stem, which I just love. So it's the attention to detail sometimes. And like Cammie said,
beautiful.
We tempered some white chocolate in the Thermomix, and we thought we'd just make a little bit of a difference to show you what you could do.
That was another question at the beginning. Is it okay for them to put their own flair onto it, or what do you want it exactly like the colour?
Please put your own flair onto it.
Yes, we want to know your story.
We'd love to see your tort.
Okay, and so then I found these little, they were on our Thai basil plant outside, these tiny little flowers from the basil plant, and I couldn't resist. But I promise after this I'll stop, because I also had some silver leaf, and I think I think less is more now. But you do you.
I think we might end up going overhead on this one. Oops. It's so beautiful. So that's the other thing. You can absolutely choose the angle of your image, and you can choose to shoot it overhead. You can choose to shoot it with a slice out. You can choose to come at 45 degrees, whatever's working for you. It'll probably work on a flat plate like this better as an overhead, on a stand better as a sort of coming in at it from a 45 degrees, but it's totally up to you. A few other pointers on the photograph side is the rule of thirds is a really great one. So I don't know if I can show you like this, but here the image is sort of central almost. And being central, it sort of doesn't work so well. Whereas if you give yourself a little bit of negative space, imagine that
Do you want this or do we need it?
I don't think so.
And this is what we do a lot. We're like, do we need it? Is it nice?
Yeah.
Does it work? And so we just play a little bit.
So if you give yourself some more negative space, it generally just looks more appealing as an image and creates more curiosity than having something sort of right bang smack in the center.
The 3 in a row there.
So any other questions around the styling side, or should we get into the slicing?
Oh, yes. So we're not, we just, it keeps coming. There's so many trips. So this is a really big cake. And so you might feel that a slice of it is really big. So we've also come up with a really good hack. So all you do is you take an egg ring. It could be anything in the lid of a jar. It doesn't matter what you have. And we'll just scoot our fruit back a little bit. And you just try and see if it's in the middle. Just make a little imprint like that. And then you're going to cut around and you have this beautiful little mini cake in the middle that you can cut, again, cut into half or two. So you would just continue all the way around. But for the sake of today, I'll just show you. So you'd have, are you've finished with it?
Yes, yes, I think
Yeah.
because we're running over.
So then you can just cut it, and then you get a really perfect slice that's manageable, and also you can actually go back for seconds because it's such a small slice. So there
Absolutely
we go. So
lovely.
Harvey,
Quite a while in the fridge, doesn't it, ladies? Or a few days.
Yeah, yeah.
yeah, it does. It'll last for a good 2 to 3 days in the fridge. And also, we also found that if you put it in the fridge now, let it settle, it just improves. And also before you ice it, when you did your fruit and your cream, you can also put it in the fridge to make it easier to ice and cut and that as well. So it's really forgiving. Bring it to room temperature though, before you want to serve it, so it's not ice cold from the fridge.
Yeah, awesome.
Yeah, so I think that cutting is really, really clever to get that perfect slice.
And the clip referenced before, where and when will that be available?
That will be coming out when we do the magazine later in the year, when all of the recipes go into Cookie Do. Yeah, so good.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
So thank you guys. I'm sorry we kept you for 15 minutes longer than we'd agreed. Please do stay on. We've got a really interesting information session around being a Thermomix consultant and all of those incredible benefits and perks you can have by sharing your love of Thermomix with others. So please stay online for that. Thank you for joining us. We really hope that you love this talk. We can't wait to see your Cook the Cover entries. And thanks again. Thanks for supporting the magazine. It's just so incredible that we had to reprint within 3 days of hitting the stores. All of the stores are restocked now, as is the mix shop, of course. So keep on cooking, keep on sharing. Thanks again, and we'll see you soon.
Yes, happy Thermomixing.